In the meantime, speaking of things to watch, there is a new development in tech. For the first time in history, we have figured out how to help a person communicate with just their brain. There's this poor man who has ALS, and ALS destroys nerves that control movement until basically your body shuts down and you
But
die.
you're still very much awake.
But you're very much awake.
Imagine being trapped inside your body and not be able to say, do anything.
And this could happen for
Move your
days,
eyes.
months, or even years. So what happened, this guy Vansensteel, he allowed some doctors to start operating on him and teaching him how to use his brain to communicate. And they were, at the time, they had some theories on how they could make this happen, using electrodes that went into his brain. Now, he had ALS, and at this time he still had function of a lot of his body, and he was like, go ahead and start operating. I'm gonna die anyway, so go ahead, let's see if we can make this happen. Well, over time, they had a lot of failures, but they finally got to the point where this guy, he could actually communicate with his brain. And at the same time, he was basically to the point where he was immobile. Like, he couldn't communicate with his eyes anymore. He's just laying there, right?
Yeah, it's just a shell.
Yes, but they got it to work, and he had two messages. Let me see. His first message was, "I love my cool son." And that's like, aw, okay. His other message was, I want to hear the album by Tool really loud. And I was like, of course it's a goddamn Tool fan. Of course. Whenever there's something going on with some type of tech thing or some magnificent thing that happens in life or science, in the middle of it is some asshole who loves Tool. Always. So this cracked me up. But I mean, if this technology now exists, now mind you, each message takes somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 45 minutes to produce, as the electrodes are reading his thoughts. But eventually, he has the ability to. He currently, as it stands, has the ability to communicate, even though he is entirely prone and cannot think like that. Like, bro, like, I can't imagine what a terror it is to just be trapped in your own fucking body, like it, and watch it happening in slow motion. But of course, it's a fucking Tool fan. Anyway, my question to you is, Alfonso, if you were in this situation and you were trapped in your body with ALS and it was ravaging your flesh, and you had one album you wanted to hear really loud, from what band? Which would it be? From Deftones.
That is a really, really tough question.
Yes, it is.
Wow. Okay.
Go ahead. I knew it was Deftones. I didn't want to say. It's like
no, it's not.
If
And
it's Limp Bizkit, I'm a freak the fuck out.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Normally it would be, but since I'm here having to think about this clearly, I feel like I would have already felt so much aggression and so much anguish and pain and suffering, and the idea that I'm trapped here. I communicate with no one and I'm dying, and I can't speak to the amount of anger and sadness that person must feel must be.
Well, you got to remember, when you're diagnosed with ALS, like, it takes years usually for the symptoms to develop.
For sure.
So, like, you have plenty of time to go through all the stages of grief till you get to acceptance. So I'm assuming if it takes 3 or 4 years for, like, to get to the point where
when you're, but I mean,
I'm speculating. I'm not in that situation, so I just want you to have the whole picture.
I feel for sure. I feel like, but even then, no one's ever prepared for that. Like I don't care how much you try and prepare, and somebody tells you you're going to die at this day, at this time, with this many people, whatever. You're still never prepared, right?
Correct.
Like, you like, and I'll say that about, like, even when if you're having a loved one dying, and they're gonna die, and they've got cancer, they've got whatever, they've got X, and when they die, it still hurts, right? Yeah. It's still, you're never prepared for that.
Right.
I don't think that any person that's, you know, a being that has feelings and shit could ever still be prepared to lay there with their body and be stuck in their body for days on end and not being able to even talk. Like, you can't even do that.
Right.
You can't even move your eyes. You're like...
You're literally just a body that exists that's alive.
But you're still cognizant.
Yes.
Right? You still... It's not,
your
you're not brain dead.
You're
still you.
Of reality is everything. Your personality is still there.
There.
Like, everything
You're
about
just
you is still
stuck,
there.
right?
Yeah.
And it's going to take a while for you to die.
Yes.
A couple of days, probably. You know, realistic.
No. Longer than that.
You think so?
It can take months to years, depending on the people.
Because they give you like IVs and shit too.
Well, no, it depends. Like
No,
some
what I'm
people's
saying,
ALS are worse than others.
when we're in the final stages of ALS, where everything has shut down except your brain, and you're still there, but you're literally now stuck. Nothing works.
Yeah.
I would assume that you probably your lifespan is going to last like 2 days or something, maybe 3 days.
No, it's longer than that.
For real, wow.
It can be up to months and years.
Oh, wow,
Seriously.
wow. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know. Well, anyway, so even...
Can be. Like some people,
for sure.
you know.
No, yeah. It's different for everybody. But I feel like because of all those things and the anger and everything that you feel, I would just want to be funny and also have some happy thought and make people laugh around me. So I would want the Bee Gees Staying Alive to be played.